Welcome, everybody, to the KQ Show instructional guide for your listening pleasure. For those new to the show, hi, I'm Kyle. I'm just like everyone else. I wake up, make falcon sounds at the neighbor kids, then start my day. As a young lad, I learned I had what my parents would call the gift of gab. I love conversations and I love learning from people. Most importantly, I love to have fun. I surround myself with positive and creative people that have helped structure who I am today. And now I want to tell their stories. I'll be chatting with business owners, athletes, musicians, artists, and even a live dragon. That's episode 10, Chatting with My Ex. Today's episode brings us Conversations with Wonder Woman. March is Women's History Month. It's a time we celebrate the contributions women have made in the U.S. My guest this week is a successful property manager, full-time exercise enthusiast, and owner of Wonder Woman Hair Salon. We discuss her life hacks on living a healthy lifestyle and what it took for her to overcome her own insecurities and succeed in a male-dominated sport. We also had a lot of good whiskey and a lot of laughs. Enjoy the episode. KQ Show. Welcome everyone back to the KQ Show, episode 3. Today's episode is brought to you by Wonder Woman Hair Salon. Yeah, you can get your hair cut anywhere, but it probably looks like shit. At Wonder Woman Hair Salon, services include woman and men's haircut, hair coloring, and waxing. From the neck up. No weird stuff. Go see Brittani and tell him the KQ Show sent you. My guest today, graduate of Premier College of Cosmetology, able to squat 300 pounds. Yeah, 300 pounds, finisher of a 9-hour, 14-mile Spartan Beast race, the assistant property manager at Runaway Bay, and for the past 8 years, she's been owner and operator of what I have just told her company is Wonder Woman Hair Salon, the Brittani Powers.
Wow. Thank you, Kyle. 300 pounds, wow. I tell people, that was a few years ago, but really, that was 5 years ago now.
So you think, you're at 320?
Yeah. No, probably half of that. No, that took me a good year to get to squatting 300 pounds. I mean, that was pretty remarkable. I wanted to do that for my 30th birthday. That was my only wish.
That is awesome. So was that like a bucket list thing?
Yep. Yeah.
Nice. Nice. Well, for people that don't know you, or have seen, your pictures, the body transformation, that you took was pretty crazy. So, if you don't want to call it Wonder Woman, that's fine.
I kind of like the ring of it. Yeah. Well, I haven't always looked like that. How long have we known each other now?
Man, so when you fixed whatever Sport Clips did to my head, I remember just the first story about. Man, what was it? Oh, it was Valentine's Day, and I didn't have a date or anything like that, but I'd gone in there, and this lady was having a rough day. I should have known she had an apron from Old Country Buffet on, and I just said her name tag.
I remember this.
She was, so I'm like, yeah, I'm next. She goes, yeah, just pick a chair. I'm like, that's a good start. Somebody looks like pick whatever chair you want. I'm like, oh, this is great. All right, I just need a fade, which a fade is the definition of the word. It fades. She just took clippers and went to work on me. So I was whatever. I was her ex-husband. I was somebody that she needed.
She was upset. She took it out on you.
Yeah, and I look in the mirror and I was like, it was a lot, but it was bad. But then I came to you and you're like, oh my God, yeah, we can do this. Boom, boom, in and out. So I mean, you've been cutting my hair for 8 to 10 years, something like that.
So what? I graduated beauty school 2007. So it took me about 2 years to graduate. During that time, I remember, I was working at McCree's Bakery. I worked there in high school. And after graduating high school, I worked there in the morning in the back making pastries. And of course, you make them and one goes on the shelf, one goes in my mouth. And I think that's where the weight started to be put on. Between that and the alcohol. But yeah, I mean, I'd work there in the morning and then I'd go to school from about 10 to 3 and I'd waitress at Samari's at night. So that was my 2 years. Yeah, it was very long days, but yeah, it was awesome. I worked at a great salon when I first graduated. She actually paid us to do continuing education. So we got to go to Chicago, which was awesome, and do all these different haircut techniques and different things that were trendy at the time. You would come in and have a journey. We would do like a sensory journey. You'd smell different smells, so essential oils. And then you'd get like a nice neck massage, hot towel facial, and that stuff was just a little too much for me. As bougie and nice as all of it was, it wasn't me. So I actually was in and out of probably 4 different salons throughout my life. And then because I am licensed, I just kind of started doing it independently. And that's what's so cool about my schedule now. I've been able to work my 40-hour work week, and then I can do things on my lunch break, and people can come over, or I can come to them, which was really cool because during the pandemic, when all salons closed, I had a lot of fun. I got to go to factories, and we'd line up like in the factory, so they'd be making, RV factories.
I didn't even know that. That's awesome.
Yeah. I have a friend who's been cutting his hair for years. He had texted me, and he usually would come over to the salon. He just asked, not only can I not have like my friends get their haircut at the salons, but they need a haircut too. It's been really awesome. I haven't had like a crazy moment, but like I said, it was really cool to go to different companies, like different days, and do that. So
I didn't even know they did that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, hey, so first thing I want to do, for a lot of people that don't know, I think your fitness journey has been insane,
Yeah.
What started you on it? What was the day? What'd you say, hey, you know what? I have to make a change. What happened?
So I had just graduated beauty school. It was 2010, and I was living with a group of friends. What was it? 911 Corby Boulevard?
It was definitely a party house. I had attended a lot of parties there.
Yeah, that was a fun house. It was. There was a lot of fun times there. But I think there was a point where I had seen a picture of myself. I just thought, like, this isn't who I want to be anymore. This isn't me. As much as drinking and partying was fun, you think, like, this isn't what I want my future to be. So there was a point where I had gone to Pinnacle, and I had done, like, a hip-hop class. Like, I just hated it. But it was so fun because afterwards, like, you feel so great. And so, after seeing that picture of myself with, like, 4 chins and 17 rolls, I decided I'm going to move back home.
How old were you at the time?
This was 2010, so I was like 24.
Okay. So still, that's a big party age for sure.
But
I don't remember my 22 through 29.
And a lot of my friends had gone off to college and, had started careers. And here I am still partying with Notre Dame students across the way. Like, all right, we got to change. We got to do something different. So I had moved back home. And then at that time, I was in the break room at a salon I'd worked at the time. And I remember just being hungover and just crying, and I hated like where I worked and the people I hung out with. And she had worked at a gym, and she's like, why don't you come work with me? You come work with me and you'll work at the salon, on your off days. So I had started working as, the front desk coordinator at Ice Athletic Center. Yeah. And that's kind of where it started. So it was really cool. You start there, and then you start to surround yourself with everybody that works there, the different people who are just so positive. And that's where I was like, all right, my life is changing like right now. That's kind of where things got a little bit more serious. My whole life, I had been a gymnast. I was a cheerleader. But my main thing was like, I wanted to lift some heavy fucking weight. And I wanted to kind of be an animal in that department. But going to St. Joe High School and being a cheerleader and not really knowing who I was or feeling confident enough to do it, it was my time to shine there. And so I had a friend who had taught a class, and it was a very high intensity class. The box jumps and the kettlebell swings, like you get these goosebumps and you're just like I want more. And then the music I would listen to, I'm really into like heavy metal, the beat to the song, like I just all that together, like it is so euphoric. that was just kind of my time to shine, and that's, I think, where it all started.
Nice. Your commitment to fitness and nutrition is amazing. I mean, and you're super creative with how you do things. So, what was one of the things that you found out when it comes to working out that was more fun than just lifting heavy weight?
Yeah, so when it comes to like high intensity training, like I've never really been like regimen, like I gotta bench this day and I need to like squat this day. I had a group of friends that like we would say, let's flip this tractor tire like 17 times around. But the creativeness of everything, like we would pull trucks. We would do that in the parking lot, or these Spartan races, which were so awesome. The rope climbing and like the hoist and the sled pulls and all that stuff, like that was so fun. So I think having that different equipment and having those people surrounded by who would have these garage gyms, sledgehammers, things like that. I'm a very artsy fartsy kind of person, so being able to put stuff together and do stuff like that, it's awesome.
Nice.
There's no limit to it, you know?
Walk me through what it took for you to walk up, the preparation it took for you to walk up to that bar that had 300 pounds. Because I kid you not, I probably couldn't even squat. Maybe 120, maybe, with help. But what was the preparation it took before you got up there and you just banged the shit out?
So luckily at the time I had a friend who was a personal trainer. He was a tremendous help throughout this whole journey. You know, I remember being 29 and I was like, okay, like we're lifting heavy weight. My biggest thing, I loved leg day. Like I loved being able to just like do lunges and the leg press and deadlifts, and then you're literally crawling down that hallway like to your car, like,
Yeah.
And then you're texting your friend like, oh my God, it took me an hour to get home. But the preparation behind it, just on a day-to-day basis, and then you go month to month, you know, that first month you have to set up some sort of routine. So I think once like you set that goal, then you have to think of like, okay, what kind of food am I putting in my body? And then you start to break everything down, which is kind of cool. Like, okay, what food is the best to eat before you lift this weight? And then after you lift the weight, what kind of food should I be putting in my body? So you have to think like hour by hour, what am I doing to get to this goal? Which is so cool. So I think that's where the nutrition part came in. I started to notice, which I'm very stubborn if you haven't noticed, I would work out, but then I wouldn't fuel my body properly. Okay. And once I started to do that, I started to realize, wow, I'm sleeping better. And my body doesn't hurt as bad. And my mentality is totally different. So I actually started to get real geeky with it, and I would jot things down, how I felt, how I slept. So before we had these watches, you know, I would just jot it down like, wow, kiwi really helps me sleep at night. Wow. And cottage cheese makes my bones feel better. And so it was really cool. And then I got like really geeky with herbs and things that I could add into my smoothie on a day-to-day basis. So for me, the mentality of putting the workout and the food together, like, it's just so funny how you can change such a simple thing, and everything changes in your life.
Yeah. What was the start of your nutrition journey, and what did you find that continued to work?
So I knew nothing about food. I mean, I grew up and my mom cooked for us, and you know, you go through high school and you eat the lunch food, the Bosco sticks and the
buttermilk
processed
ranch.
cheese.
Yep.
I can't even tell you, the first job I had was Dairy Queen when I was 15. My mom would drop us off. And that was the first time I ever experienced processed cheese. And I saw that bag of cheese and I was beside myself. Like, we put this in our body? But it's so delicious.
It is. It is.
So for me, when it was, you know, I graduated high school, I went to beauty school, I just ate what was available. Like, I'd get fast food, this, that. Not being in sports and then adding alcohol on top of it, you notice a lot of changes mentally, physically. So for me, once I like got over that stubbornness, I made it very basic. I knew what like lean protein was. So chicken. I made chicken. And from there, I realized like, wow, I really like to cook food. And I love the smell of it. And I love like you add the music in with it, and it's such a cool experience. And then you learn about olive oil and avocado oil and all the benefits to everything. So I think when you know the basics, it makes it so much easier. For me, it's not KFC, it's PFC. So it's, good proteins, good fats, and good carbs.
Okay, hold on, go back, because we're not going to skip over the fact you just threw that together. So
well, my thing was Popeyes, not
okay,
KFC.
No, but I got you. So that I like it. So say that again now.
It's not KFC, it's PFC.
So
protein, fats, and carbs.
Okay, all right.
So if you can remember that,
yeah, okay.
I mean, you put your favorite foods together, and you got a balanced meal. You don't have to like set out your containers and have your chicken, rice, and broccoli every day. I mean, get creative with it, and that's the fun. Enjoy it while you do it.
So what are 3 meals that you made that you're like, wow, this is easy as shit and it's healthy as hell?
Yeah.
Because I know you've given me like 900 recipes. Literally, every time I leave, you're like, take this recipe book. You're going to figure it out.
What kind of appliances do you have? And then we'll start there.
Yeah. Okay, I got one for you. How about we talk about the biggest thing is the air fryer. So walk me through some healthy, because you have some gems when it comes to air fryer. So walk me through like a couple of those.
Oh, I should have brought my binder, Kyle.
Yeah.
About my binder. So my favorite thing, actually, so I've never been like a fish taco person, but fish tacos in the air fryer are kind of bomb. Not gonna lie. Like, so I'll put tilapia in there with a little avocado oil, some rosemary, and then like you can get these like little tortilla shells on Amazon. Which
Yeah, she sent me home with several packs. I
Oh
murked through a whole
gosh.
pack one night just dipping them in ranch, by the way.
You could do so much with it.
Yeah, I didn't do anything with them except for eat them dipping in ranch. But that was, again, it was a long night.
Oh, so yeah, fish tacos are awesome. I try to do, like, to keep it simple, I do a lot of staple things in the air fryer. So your veggies.
Okay.
I do like carrot sticks or broccoli or cauliflower and broccoli together. If you know me, Kyle, I did my research extensively, and I put my binder together with my little.
She did legitimately.
I had to find things that I liked in order to buy this air fryer. So it's really easy to throw in, like when your chicken's cooking, you throw in your sweet potatoes that you cut up along with your broccoli, or the carrots are a big one. So you cut them up after you clean them, peel them, cut them up, and then I like to toss them like with a little olive oil, rosemary, and then you put it in for like 10 to 12 minutes and they're set.
What's the easiest thing somebody can start with?
So like what I would recommend if like you're starting off, I like to jot stuff down. I like to see visuals. Kind of back to that formula. If you are getting serious about it, just know like what good like lean proteins are. Ground turkey, ground chicken, chicken breast, fish. Write down things you like to eat. And then that's how you can put your meals together. You get that list of the proteins, the fats, the carbs, and then you can say, cool, I'll make a sweet potato lasagna with ground turkey. There it is.
That's
Boom.
awesome.
Maybe I should make a recipe book.
I think that you should, because the whole thing that you just said, I would have never thought to do. Whatever that is, I would have just had like a pile of stuff, been like, I think I'm just going to DoorDash again.
But yeah, get your list, you know what I mean? And then you can put like, all right, cool, we'll do chicken, and then we'll do this cool fat, avocado, and we'll put a tortilla shell. Cool, we just made a chicken taco.
I like that. What motivated you to say, hey, here's what I got to do, and here's the start? What was the first start to your nutrition and workout journey?
As far as starting, you need to be surrounded by the people who are wanting the same, if not more. So in the gym, you want to be around people who are better than you and doing bigger and better things. In life in general, same thing, you always want to be around people who are doing bigger and better things than you. So that's, I put my mindset there first, and it just kind of started to happen, which was cool. So, and again, with like the basics of food, you start with the broccoli, chicken, and the rice, and you kind of build from that. So you kind of put in what you want and you get the results back,
I love ranch to death. Like I would just, sometimes I pour it on me when no one's looking, and I take photos. They're tasteful. Get it? No, so I really love ranch, so I'll make like a nice meal, and then that'll be my I guess, additive.
I love ranch too. Actually, I love blue cheese, but you got to enjoy life too.
I agree with the blue
So,
cheese community. So I don't hate the blue cheesers. I agree.
You know, if you like the ranch, eat the ranch, Kyle. But eat it with like a good a good protein and a good carb. So I think like treating yourself is good.
That was one of my biggest things that I realized about health was just, man, eating right and not drinking so much. And I was not drinking shitty liquor.
Yeah,
Shitty liquor.
It's got to be good quality. Yeah.
A new thing I want to start doing. We were talking about ranch. New segment called Ranch Fact of the Day. So my buddy sent me this ranch fact of the day, and he goes, dude, if this is not on your podcast, you're crazy. Because, again, I love ranch. Hidden Valley was able to use their ranch dressing, the ranch seasoning, okay, so the powdered seasoning, to make and replicate a lab-produced 2-carat diamond.
Oh, wow.
So what's your condiment? If you're trying to polish off a meal, what's your condiment? What's your go-to?
I like a good buffalo sauce, to be honest.
Elaborate. We need brands. I need to know what you're talking about.
Oh, Fresh Thyme. I do like me some Fresh Thyme. So either there or Trader Joe's, you could usually find like a good buffalo sauce.
I mean, I like the Frank's Red Hot. Like they have a good buffalo, but I'm a traditional straight up. You get me ranch and like Hidden Valley and Frank's. Mix that shit together. That's fancy sauce.
So
that's
you're
fucking
a
fancy
condiment
sauce.
guy.
Oh, I'm a dipper. I'm a dipper. I am a
you?
hands down dipper.
I'm more of a meal girl, so like the dipping, I don't do a whole lot of that.
I feel like you get more.
I get more into like the seasonings and the marinades,
the preparation.
And, oh my gosh, like the more like not organic, but like I guess like I like fresh cilantro, and I want to squeeze that lime, like that kind of stuff. Like really kind of gets me going.
Because you get a passion, for
I do.
cooking. You do, and I feel bad because you'll like show me stuff, and I'd be like, I gotta be honest, Britt, I'm not going to do any of that.
Yeah, you keep talking about ranch, and I'm like, man.
I'm telling you, man. I will tell you. Okay. So tomorrow, I'm actually my buddy has a YouTube channel where he does food. Okay, and I happen to be a big fan of both YouTube and food. So we're gonna go to 3 different wing places.
Okay.
Okay. So I think we're doing wings, B-dubs, and wings over. So we talked about ranch for a little bit, and I was like, dude, hands down, I will tell you. And if they eventually want to be sponsored here, Bar Louie's Ranch. On
oh
par.
My gosh. Okay.
Holy shit. Their ranch
it's
there. It has everything that you'd want. Like if they were like, oh yeah, we put a sprig of ginger and rosemary in there, I'd be like, you know what, you do something.
No, they really do. You're not lying. Have you ever asked them like why their ranch separates from Hidden Valley?
Once I'm like meal deep into ranch, I don't look up.
I don't
really. Sometimes I bite people if they get near me, but
you just see you in like a valley running.
Oh, just the Hidden Valley. Like I'm telling you, eventually, like if I ever like got married, I'd be like, baby, we married like in a ranch field. I don't know if that's a thing, but could we make our own ranch field? Tossing dry ranch seeds at you. Oh, I hit her with that diamond. Done. Get on this website right now. I'm gonna marry somebody just because of a ranch diamond.
Oh, that's fantastic. So speaking of fresh ingredients, of course, you buy produce and it's good for what? 2-3 days the most.
At the most, yeah.
So that is what frustrated me the most. And I'm such an extremist. So I found myself going to Shelton's, buying 40 pounds of sweet potatoes and cleaning them and brushing them and putting them in the fridge. And it's like, Britt, like, we're not going to just eat sweet potatoes for our entire meal. So, but the great thing is that 40-pound box is only $14.88.
Yeah.
So you find ways like
hold on, back up.
40-pound box of sweet potatoes.
Because I pay $1.19 for each one that's like, because they seal them, you can just throw them in the microwave.
And these come straight from the farm.
That's bananas.
So
why not? I mean, yeah, if you throw away half, you're still saving cheaper than going to the.
Well, then you think, okay, how can I like save these more? Mm-hmm. How can I like make the best of it? Once I did my research, I found lemons are huge. They're so significant for our body. Like, God, what is it? What they do is they enhance all the nutrients that we put into our body, and then that helps digest. So lemons are such a staple thing we need to be putting into our body. So that
writing this down real quick. Yeah, I'm taking notes on my own podcast. Fuck this. So lemon.
So yeah, I mean the nutrients and the amino acids. What that does is it helps take all that in. So I want to buy all the lemons. Here I am buying lemons. And then I'm like watching them like slowly, like 2-3 days, all of them just get green and molded.
Turn into limes.
Like, what the hell? So then like I try to research, how can I do all this? Mind you, small little tip. If you cut a lemon, you can put it in your dishwasher and it's like a rinse aid. So you're welcome.
So hold on, go back to because you're throwing out
I
way
have
too.
so many
You're
tips.
throwing out way too many life hacks for me to even have time to think about it. So you're saying, because right now you just talked about having 40 pounds worth of any food for $14, which seems like you stole it or something.
So you find
but
friends to share those with.
something. Oh, every time I love it. Every time I go over there, you're like, hey, God, listen. I have these 9 different things. Here's a ground turmeric. What you're gonna do is you're gonna put this on the back of your tongue once every 7 hours. You have like different ideas every time over there, and I love it. But so you're saying, so what?
So the lemons, like
The lemon. I got you.
So now, like with lemons, what I've been doing is I'll cut them in half. I'll squeeze them into my ice cube, like the little ice cube container.
Ice cube tray, like.
Yeah, like the tray. Like
Okay.
you squeeze them in there, and then you put them in the freezer, and they don't go bad. And how cool is it to put that in your water every day?
So you got hold on. So you got frozen lemon juice.
Yep.
Just chilling.
Yep.
That's pretty badass, even for a drink.
And you can even go a step further. You can take all those cubes out and put it into like a little like bowl in your freezer. You have no excuse. You take a few cubes out of that little bowl and like you're already starting your day fantastic.
If I have water, walk with you what that extra like lemon does.
The lemon, so what that'll do is it's going to greatly enhance the amount of nutrients and amino acids that our body can intake. So it's compatible and it's helps digest everything in our body. So
Okay.
lemon, cucumber water, you always hear that. You see that like on Instagram, social media, like drink lemon water. It's going to help flush all those toxins out. So lemon is such like a staple thing. For me, like I try to start my day making it 100%. I get out of bed, I make my bed. And then as soon as I get out of like my room, I'll go drink my lemon water. And it's like, all right, cool. My day's already super great.
So I want to stop because I want to go back because you said a quote that I thought I had heard before, but I totally forgot about it. And I was getting my hair cut. You talked about how make your bed, the impact of make your bed.
So I had read a book. It's called Make Your Bed. It's by Admiral William McRaven. He actually was the commencement speaker at University of Texas in 2017. So it was really cool. Like, you think about it, you wake up and, you know, you stub your toe waking out of bed. And you get up and you're pissed off. So, like, that's already, like, a start of your day. So this book that I read it was so cool. Like as soon as you wake up, you want to make your bed, and the whole premise behind it is it's something to be proud about, and you've already started something so great. So making your bed, you know, you have a crappy day. At the end of the day, you come home, you see your made bed, and it gives you hope for for tomorrow. So what really stood out for me was, as soon as you wake up, you want to give everything 100%. So my routine for every day is I get up, I make my bed, I go into the kitchen, you know, I'm the proud mother of 2 cats, so I feed my cats.
Names of the 2 cats?
Hank and Harlow.
I like it.
So yeah, I think it's so important that you make that happen. So like something that I do to stay motivated, my bathroom mirror, it's right across from my bedroom. I write something that I'm grateful for every single day. So when I go to bed, I write that on the mirror, and then when I wake up, that's what I see.
Hold on. So it's like you mean like the steam from the shower pops it up? Is that what you're talking about?
No,
Or you mean write it with marker?
I write it with like a dry erase marker.
What was today's? Or one of your most favorite ones? Like, give me an example of what you write and what you feel when you wake up to it.
So I write like what I'm grateful for, and then I also write like just a simple quote. So like when I wake up, like today's was, successful people are not gifted. They just work harder than succeed on purpose. And
That's
it's
awesome.
like you wake up and you see that and you're like, I'm ready for the day.
Nice.
You know, you put your jams
That's
on,
badass.
you have your lemon water, you're like, all right, cool. I'm already 5 steps ahead of everybody.
That's badass.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that's awesome.
So knowing that already, and it's 9 o'clock in the morning, like what else can I accomplish in the day? And that's kind of how I tackle like day by day, hour by hour, minute by minute. And I think that's what's really helped me kind of like mold the person I am. So just knowing like when you wake up, you have to make it what you want it. People who motivate me are, it's so weird. They're all like military veterans, like David Goggins and Greg Cheek and this Admiral William McRaven.
Now, are these all are from like books you read from these people?
Uh-huh.
Or okay,
Yeah.
okay. Because I mean,
Yeah.
I'd love to at the end remind me. I'd like to put that in the end for people if they want to read those books for sure.
Yeah. So it's funny how I find these people so inspiring because not only have they been able to like serve as like special ops or commanders, they're able to be a civilian and tackle what most of us can never tackle. And that's so cool to me.
That's awesome. I would say that you attack things in a very disciplined way. How did you learn that?
I think growing up, I've always been very organized, and like that's just kind of a sickness of mine.
Don't call it a sickness. That's awesome. She literally is. I swear she came with like almost a 3-ring binder of info. But that's
Highlighted sticky
I don't believe
notes.
that is definitely not a sickness. But no, go on.
But I think the beauty of my life now is I've created it that way. Like I do love doing hair, but I'm gonna do it my way, and you cannot make excuses. Like you have to wake up and you have to know like, okay, I can't work out tonight because I have haircuts or I have to work or I have to, if you have kids, you got to take the kids to soccer practice. But knowing that, you can't make an excuse. Like you have to know I have to get up in the morning and I have to tackle that. So just being prepared and organized first, having that wrote down is the first thing. And then once it's wrote down, like, you have to abide by that. If it makes sense and you don't do it, then that's your control, you know?
What is spam? And follow-up question, there's a lot of people that die, right? But there's not a lot of cemeteries. Do you think spam could be people?
You know what?
You
It
paused
could
like
be.
you weren't allowed to tell. Are you working for
I
spam?
have so many things. I feel like maybe the people that deserve to be spam in their recreated life,
You thinking?
I think they come back as spam.
You think death row cats are just popped into a spam can? I mean, because I don't know what it is. It's not It's not something I've ever had. Like I've had it. I've tasted every type of spam. And
I can't even pronounce like the chemicals in it.
Whatever it's
processed.
filled with, it makes all of your body swell like a diabetes patient immediately. It's so much sodium. I don't know. Like you just like
See,
you ever have a bunch of beef jerky.
I have, yeah.
Somebody they make their own beef jerky, but what they don't tell you is they put God knows what in it, and like you just my feet just swell. Like you're just like wearing like duck fins.
My dad used to actually like dehydrate meat and I would chew on it for like 15 to 50 minutes. And I'm like, when does this like digest? Like I have to spit it out. And he'd be like, Brittani, I see it in the trash can.
This is gross, Dad. What are you doing?
Nothing's free in life.
Well,
That was probably like the best advice I've ever had.
What did he mean when he said that?
Nothing's free in life. Nothing's free. I mean, it is kind of funny. Like when I moved out on my own, I believe I was just about to be 18 years old.
Wow. So hold on. So walking. So you're 17.
Yeah, once you get out on your own, and my dad, I just always remember saying like, nothing's free in life, Britt. Nothing's free. But I remember listening to the podcast previously with Justin, how he had talked about living at Irish Hills and the bills started to pile up, and you don't expect all that. I think you just have to be prepared for it, and yeah, living on my own was definitely an adventure. And I just remember like buying food, and I'd buy like the worst quality food at like Save-A-Lot. And I think that's where it all kind of started, with not knowing what to buy or what to make. But yeah, you start to realize like I have to make a budget. And in life, like, you have to do that. When I first started working at Illusions, that was the very first salon I worked at. You're commission based.
Now this is when you had just graduated?
I had just graduated beauty school.
Okay.
I was working, part-time at McCree's, kind of on and off. But I knew if I continued working there, I have no control when food's around me. So I knew I had to change that career somehow.
No, I got you.
So it's really interesting. Like, you work off commission only, and you start to see these paychecks. So you have to know nothing's free. Okay, I need to find some sort of other income. So for me, at the time, my aunt actually owned a cleaning company, and I would clean like Piper Morgan Stasiak after a haircut. And the cool thing about that was the flexibility. And that's what always attracted me to these types of jobs. Same with hair. When I was growing up, both my neighbors, they had their own salon in the basement. And that was so cool to me to know, like, you can cut your friend's hair and they're so happy when they leave. And you just made a few bucks. Cleaning, like, oh my God, like, I know my apartment or my home, I always like spotless from top to bottom. So if I can do that for somebody else and listen to my music, to me, like, that's not working. That is, I'm getting my cardio in. The type of work I do, I'm able to control my day. So going back to my dad saying nothing's free in life, the fact that you can do different things, I've been very grateful my entire life that I've been able to put these different skills I have into a work ethic.
Nice.
And I think I just have such a squirrely brain anyways. I'm like, okay, what can I do next? What can I do like Saturday nights? It's just funny. Like, your entire life, like, you have so many passions, and you start to put the pros and the cons. And I read this awesome book. It's the 6 Thinking Hats. And what this is, you put all your pros and your cons. And that's kind of like how I base my life. Like, all right, with this job, what are the pros and what are the cons? And that's kind of what, like, takes me to my next step. And that's what I've done the past 10 years, and I think that's what put me where I'm at.
So what is the best purchase that you made?
Like my Jeep.
I think the Jeep was a pretty big one. You were pretty... Do you do the Jeep wave? Do you do the Jeep wave?
Sometimes.
Are you a non-waver back? You don't wave back?
Britt,
it's a rule.
I know. Well, I do the Jeep wave, but, like, I kind of, like, take it personal when I do the Jeep wave and no one does it back at me.
That's what I'm saying.
And I kind of am like,
No, the answer
is
go
a
fuck
club.
Yourself, Jeep person.
You knew what you were getting yourself into.
Yeah,
when
and
you
if you didn't, then you wave back at people because they're excited to see you. Okay.
Oh my gosh, funny duck story. So I was at CVS, and like the Jeeps collect the ducks. You put the duck on like the mirror, and then when you come out, you're like, oh, I've been ducked, whatever. So I was at CVS, and there was this couple next to me, and they like went in their back seat, and they had a whole box of ducks, and they had this duck they pulled out, they put it on, and I have tinted windows on my Jeep, and I rolled my Jeep window down, and they were like, oh my God, we didn't know you were in the car. And I gave this like crazy Joker smile at them, and they're like, hold on. They took the duck that they were gonna put on my mirror, and they got this like evil duck out, and I was just like,
that is awesome.
This is what I like about you Jeep people.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good community.
You just met me, and you already know.
Nope, give me a sec. That is awesome. You did the weird roll down.
Like,
Hi there.
who does that? Who has like a box of ducks in their Jeep?
First off, Brittany, you in like 15 years. Don't act like you ain't gonna do it too. Oh, I keep these. I have so many boxes, and I based them on people's personalities.
Well, I've been just kind of saving them, so I don't duck other people now. I just keep my ducks, and I've been lining them up so everyone sees my collection of ducks. My first vehicle, which was a 1987 Suburban.
What?
So yeah, I try to be classy, but
man, my first one, I remember I financed. My dad co-signed a loan for me, right? And I was like, hey, it was a 1994 Honda Civic, and it was a manual.
Okay.
Right? Did not know how to, A, drive a stick, or B, have a job. But it was a great deal, and I was like, Pops, I'm going to get a job. But my first job was a Circuit City. It was a struggling electronic company who wouldn't pay you for like 4 weeks when it was supposed to be 2. So my dad goes, hey, one rule. You miss one payment, the car's mine. I'm like, Pops, nobody's taking this fucking car from me. Now, I'm doing it. So
I'm a grown man.
Didn't get a paycheck. My dad knew I didn't get a paycheck. I gambled my ass off with a bunch of friends. I played poker for 3 nights in a row, and I had a bag. I showed up to the bank with a bag full of change and cash to dump it out there. There might have been like a random like ticket and stuff, like a Chuck E. Cheese coin. My dad was like, I think he's got a good head on his shoulders.
Oh, that's hilarious.
And he still tells that story to this day. Come to think of it, Craig Zion was there. Craig Zion.
Why does his name always pop up so randomly?
It started on the first episode, and it hasn't left yet.
Funny.
The worst purchase you ever made.
Oh my God. This is so funny. Like, everywhere I've lived, I've rented a room. 16 different places. And I've just rented a room.
Since you're 17?
Hickoryville Village.
So since 17, you lived in 16 different places. So, well, I remember you lived at Keenum's.
Keenum's, yeah.
Yep, that was a 5. I remember 5 a.m. workouts were so rough. February, and it's like 7 inches of snow, and I had a 2000 Mazda Protege with bald tires, like roller skating wheels, and I'm trying to get there. I'm like, yeah, man, I'm on the way. It's 5:08. I haven't left the house yet. Like, I'm like, dude, it's real snowy.
And you know how we are, like, all right, that's 8 extra laps around.
Yeah. I mean, I would do the extra work. So tell me about your experience with the Spartan Races.
The Spartan Races. Those are probably like my most favorite time in my entire life. Those are my types of vacations. So like you take off Friday and then you drive with your friends in an RV and then you camp out. You're grilling steaks with like your fresh cilantro and your lime juice and you hear like the coyotes in the background and the birds, and like to me, like that's my vacation. So these Spartan races were like just something so fun with my friends. So my very first Spartan race was in 2014. And we went to Haspin Acres. So it was like a motocross field. And we had...
Where is this at?
Richmond.
Indiana. Okay,
Indiana.
Gotcha.
So yeah, so we had 8 people that went with us. And the thing I loved about it was you never knew what you were going to encounter. So like the minute like that gun went off, you had hundreds of people just running. And you're at a motocross field, so there's hills and there's, trees and whatnot. We went to Perfect North Slopes, which was like a snow resort. You're at a resort where there's like thousands of feet of hills. And the one that I did go to in Killington, that was 14 miles, and that took us 9 hours. And we had to be prepared with like a headlamp, and we had to have like the first aid gear. And every time we would turn, there would be another hill we would have to climb. And like, just thinking about it, like, you think, how many meals do you have in 9 hours?
I mean, a lot.
Right?
Yeah, several.
I mean, I had a few mustard packets, and it was just like, that would help the cramps.
So is that something you just snuck in? Like,
you would have a backpack with like water or
instead
whatever.
of a Cliff Bar, you're like, hey, let me get 3 of these Frenchies Musties.
Like mile 9, you would like turn the corner. There'd be an obstacle. You would have to do monkey bars, jump over something, do a rope climb, and then you would turn the corner and there'd be another hill you would have to climb. And it would just be like, oh my gosh. And it's so funny, at the top of the hill, there would be like women with like Snickers and like, we're praying for you. You got this.
Just handing out snacks.
At the very end, it would be like hour 7, 8. Like you would hear people screaming. I just remember like at the 9th hour, it was pitch black and we jumped over the fire, and I just got into like this blanket and was just like, I don't want to be talked to or messed with for like a whole day.
What goes through your head when you're like, man, I'm ready to fucking give up. Like, I'm ready to throw in the towel. What gets you through those things?
Like, kind of going back to what David Goggins said, he mentioned, like, in his book, Can't Hurt Me, when your mind is telling you that you're done, that you're exhausted, that you cannot possibly go any further, you're only actually 40% done. And I think, like, reading these books before you go into this, and like having the nutrition and all that, going into these, for me, the challenge and the fun of it is not knowing what you're gonna what you're going to endure, what the next obstacle is, but just keeping the mentality of knowing like you're that much closer to being done.
Was that the most physically exhausted you've ever been?
Yes, absolutely. Okay. I think my soul is still there in Killington. Yeah, I kind of went into like cave mode. Like I just kind of like put a blanket over myself, and I remember my friends helping me to the car, and I slept that whole night. They went and got pizza.
Oh, so you were done.
I was done. Yeah. But normally, like, after these races, like, we get a beer and, we're feeling good, and then we camp out afterwards, and that's the fun part afterwards. My thing with, like, the races, you commit to it, let's say 2-3 months down the road. I know every single day whatever I put in, that's what I'm going to get out of this. And once you finish the race, it's like you start to recollect all those moments, like, that one night, I remember I didn't even want to train, and I trained, and I think it's just really cool. You start to kind of recollect all those, like, feelings and moments you had when you wanted to give up and you never did. And I think that's what kind of pushes you to the next one. And for these races, I think the coolest thing for me was the obstacles. I never went into it like, I'm going to beat everybody, and I'm going to finish first. For me, it was the obstacles and, like, being able to do more than what, like, the dudes could do.
Like, elaborate. Tell me the obstacles. I'm so excited to hear you murking
Can I just
cats.
tell you, like when I was at my fittest, I think it was 2018, I took all this pre-workout, and I was feeling good, and as soon as that gun shot, like, I knew I was going to just kill this.
Yeah.
And these obstacles you do, we have like a sled pull or like a hoist. It's like a Hercules hoist. So you pull the sandbag. You're supposed to sit with this rope, and you pull it, and then you're supposed to release it slowly. These sled pulls are really cool. The females have a certain weight, and the males have a certain weight. So the females, they're usually 20 pounds less than the males are. And because I trained at that time with mostly dudes, it was really cool for me to go in and kind of tackle these with a smile on my face. So I remember going to Richmond Hunt Club in 2018, and we had just run probably 2 miles up a hill. So you're already like just exhausted. So just imagine doing this in like 85-degree weather. You're just sweating to death. You then come up to an obstacle where it's divided male and female, and you're supposed to either sit or stand and pull the sled in the mud, and it has weight on it. So usually men will have like 95 pounds, and then the females will have 75. If it rained the night prior, then of course it's going to be a lot slipperier and a lot muddier, and the weight's going to be a lot more. So you have to take into account all these things, the weather, what happened the week before, the night before, because you're on this open course. And there was a point where I'd run up this hill, and I just automatically went to the dude side.
Yeah.
I didn't even think like twice to go to the female side. And this was the very first obstacle. And I remember sitting down, and I grabbed 2 ropes I grabbed one on the left side and one on the right side, and I like wrapped them around my wrist, and I started to pull these dude sleds. And I just remember like the cameraman behind me like zooming in, and like all these dudes just stopping, and the females didn't even know what to do. But the fact like that I could do this, like I just felt so empowered. And, like, I think that's what gets you to the next obstacle. But it's funny, though. I got up, and I kind of did this curtsy, and I ran to the woods, and I puked. And I'll never forget that. Like, I was just so happy, and I'm puking. And so yeah, I mean, these races are just so fun. Like, you come up to, like, a point where, like, there's a rope climb, and there's 5 chicks and, like, 2 twos who have no right to be out there, but they're doing it to support each other. And like, to me, that's so badass.
Yeah.
This race in particular, I remember that's where like the animal in me came out. Like the first race was like, cool, I lost a bunch of weight. Like I did this race, cool. Now like I want to fuck shit up. I was ready to show the real Brit. And it was really cool. There was this dude. So this race, you come up to like the little hoist, and you have to remember this is 2015, so Spartan Race is fairly
still pretty
new.
new. Yeah, real new.
Yeah,
Real new.
so the obstacles and the amount of people doing these races, like they're very well put together. And there was a point where like I got up to the third obstacle, and there was like this dude I didn't even know, and like I felt like he was kind of competing with me. This dude was always in front of me or always behind me. And then at the very end, there's a picture of me jumping over fire, and he's right behind me.
Oh, that is awesome.
If you're going to try to compete with me, like, bring it on. But I think the cool thing with, like, the race and the group of people we were in, we all became uniformed. We all had the same shirt on, whether you worked a corporate job or whether you worked, at Walmart or Meijer. No matter what you did in life, you were the same person once you were on that obstacle field and you were on that course, and everybody that surrounded you, they supported you. And I think that like right there overcame half the battle. And that's what's so cool about these races. Like somebody you have no idea who like you've ever met will come up from behind you and help you over that wall, or they'll just come up from behind you and like say like you got this in your ear. And it's like that's the cool thing about this course. No one's judging you, no one's separating you from anybody else. You're just like them out there. You just want to crush this shit, and that's so cool.
That is awesome. It's definitely like a family.
Yeah, it really is. You're just out there to have fun, like doing the gorilla thump on our chest, and we're like, hell yeah, we just jumped over fire.
So think about what you just said about yourself, and then yourself at whenever you felt your worst 2010. What can you say after that? I mean, what do you think? What do you feel like you accomplished?
I've taken simple little things in my day, and I've really learned what I love, and I've put that all together. And I think that's, you build confidence, and I think that shows in pictures and actions, and people want to be like that, and that's what's so cool. And I think that's what I love about my journey so far is there are other people out there who want to be a part of that, and I want to help them. But I think first and foremost, you have to be true to yourself, and you have to find that confidence.
What would you say to 2010, B Pow? What would you say to her to get it to stick? What would you say with what you know now?
Don't blame other people and don't blame other things. I mean, I was so good at that. And like day in and day out, it was just like, oh, this is your fault. That's your fault. Like, don't be a little bitch and just be true to yourself. You have to look in the mirror, and you have to know like, okay, like this is the person I was. You can't dwell on the past, and you have to just keep moving forward.
Where did you get your confidence from?
Like I said, like surrounding myself first and foremost with people who are more like-minded or better than me. And not only being surrounded by those type of people, but them supporting me. And I think that's where it was like, all right, cool. I like this type of music, or I like this type of workout, or the crazy little 5-year-old in me, like they're cool with being around that and my energy. Like this is me. And I think once I surrounded myself with those type of people I picked to be in my life, that's where the confidence came in.
If we're going to kind of sum up that, it's ditch the haters. You mentioned bucket list. What's on your bucket list? And what have you already crossed off?
Oh, man, my bucket list.
Well, I can walk through some of mine. I know it was a curveball, but
Nope.
So mine honestly, one of them is I want to snorkel crystal clear water. Like I've never been out of the country. I have never just gone there.
Okay.
And I've been to like Florida, California, but the spots that the ocean kind of sucks. That's all mine. Like I keep seeing these like ads for like the Maldives, where like you're just like laying in some weird like bungalow and you just like jump out and there's crystal clear water everywhere. So like if you saw a shark, you're like, it's a mile away. That would be one. And to follow that up, swim with sharks.
That would be pretty awesome.
Yeah, like I feel like, the odds of getting attacked by one are pretty low. So if you go down there, it's better than like a lot of people like skydiving. My thing about skydiving, the reason it's not on my bucket list is, all right, so check it out. Okay, Britt, you're married to this dude. We'll call him we'll call him Marcus, right? You and Marcus been together for years. He's, you and him, skydiving instructor. You've been taking people up in planes for years, right? But you find out Marcus has a little something on the side. So you pack his chute full of whatever you want. So when he pulls that, okay, he's like, oh, God, she knows, but I'm attached to him, right? So I have to trust the packing skills of whoever packed Marcus's backpack. And that's my frustration. I don't know
My
who
head
Marcus
goes there
is
too. My head does go there too.
Let me do my own. If I pack my own, I mess it up, then guess what? Yeah, I killed myself. It was an accident.
Oh, that's so funny. I think I overcame a fear of heights, actually. I had gone to like a rafting trip, literally sat over a cliff. It was the Gates of Lodore. It was like the northwestern part of Colorado. You literally pack everything that you need for the 5 days. And the 5th day, you get rewarded by bathing in the river. But it was so cool. Like, we rafted throughout the day. We got to jump off cliffs. And then, like, we would have lunch breaks at the end of the time. We would have, like, it was like a toilet we had to set up several feet away from our camping, which whatever guidelines those were. But, like, the first day you're super awkward about it because you get in line and everyone knows, like, you're going to do the deed. And then by day 4 or 5, you're just, like, watching the nature go. You know, you're just peeing on the toilet in the middle of nowhere. It's like, this is amazing. But, yeah, it was really cool. It was day 3. We had climbed a cliff. It was pretty amazing. I was able to like look over the cliff and not black out. So for me, I think the first time doing a Spartan race before I went on this adventure trip, I had gone up probably 8-10 feet and I almost just kind of blacked out because I'm like, we are so high up. I am sweating. My left pit is just profusely sweating.
It's that left pit.
It's that left pit, and you know that's where the anxiety starts to hit. And it was so cool. Like, I did this trip, and I think, like, not having the social media and all the distractions around you, you were able to be surrounded by these people who knew of your fear, and they talked you, like, through it. And it was so cool to look over that cliff, and I will never forget that. That was such a cool moment to be able to look over and, like, no, like, I'm overcoming this. Like, what next?
And that was the one that
That
got you
was
over?
the one.
Nice.
Like, oh, I will never forget. And then I had a Cliff Bar in my hand, and I'm like, maybe Cliff Bar will, like, sponsor me.
Ooh, all right. Hey, we could share that. We could tag him. Brittani
I'll send that
Powers
photo over to
on
you.
a ledge,
We'll see.
finding dreams. Now, so you said a couple things I want to kind of go back to that are extremely important. You mentioned, social media and how you stayed away from that, and then you'd mentioned anxiety. For me, when I found myself having the most anxiety, it was the craziest moment of my life. Like, it was such a weird thing to get through, and I think a lot of people have that. There's different levels of anxiety. When you describe your anxiety, what did that mean? At what point did you see it? And what did you do to get through it?
I think always, like, thinking what other people are thinking of me, that's where the anxiety started. Whatever insecurity I had to get over that first. And I think, like, for all of us females or even as males, knowing what that insecurity is, you have to battle over that. I mean, our world is so crazy now. Like, there are so many weird people out there, people like us that we have no idea. And it's like, instead of thinking about what our little weird quirkiness is, instead of it being negative, let's look at it being positive.
How do you maintain a social media presence without diving into the negatives?
Yeah, for like, I look back at like the Arnold sports events, the festivals I used to go to every year. There were these women who I was so inspired by. Dana Lynn Bailey, for instance. I mean, she was the first person I didn't know anything about, but I saw a picture of her on Instagram, and I just knew she was this beautiful person, but she also had all this muscle, and she didn't care what anybody thought. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to follow her. And then I looked at the people she followed. You start to group yourself with these types of people, and then you go to these Arnold sports events, and you meet these people, and they're just like you. And it's so cool
awesome.
to be able to relate that. Like, I never got the chance to like have a one-on-one conversation with Dana Lynn Bailey, but just being in her presence was like phenomenal because she like stuck her tongue out. She did a cartwheel. I'm like, dude, we are so alike. Like, I love it. And she's sitting there like headbanging to music. And it's like, that's who I am. And if like all these people are in line to see her, there's got to be other people just like me. Mm-hmm. You have to follow what you're inspired by. If you start to follow things that are unrealistic, you're going to have unrealistic goals. You're going to have negative attitude about it, a negative output, and you're never going to get to your goal.
That's huge. I mean, yeah, unrealistic goals. If you follow people that aren't ever going to be, because I keep following Kim Kardashian. I'm trying to get my butt bigger, and
don't
it
even
just
get
won't.
me started with her.
It won't. I try to do squats. It just won't move.
You have to work hard.
First, that was pretty good.
Oh, yeah. What's the first thing we do when we get up? We grab our phone.
Well, now I'm going to start fucking with the lemons based on what you said.
You better.
And I'm going to write special notes on the mirror, but I'm going to write them like with my finger to where like, when I get out of the shower, I'll be like, oh.
You cut your finger and you write it with blood.
No,
I am determined. And
just every day. And then I forgot. Then I'm just on the floor 3 hours later going, I cut something wrong. Things did not work well.
Oh.
No, but that is a big part of a lot of people's, I think, anxiety is really looking at social media because there's two sides of it. Is everybody either pretending to always be happy or they're miserable.
Yeah, and again, you have to be realistic with yourself. Like, do I want to see this every single day? You have to then unfollow that person. Take control of it. Take that simple step, and you will be so amazed. When you open your phone, you won't see that, and then you won't have that negative thought, and that won't linger into your day. And that's huge.
Banger statement. Get your notepads out, folks. Unfollow people. And I don't really know if I want to go on a tangent, but the people that became conspiracy theorists over really random stuff frustrated me because I'm like, man, I can't watch you say this type of stuff because I know who you are. Like all of a sudden, if you're like, Kyle, do you understand that aliens, they're underground right now and they're slowly, they're making their way up, and on Thursday, they're going to pop up and then they're going to make us all smoke Winston cigarettes, okay, and they're going to force us to take the vaccine. I'm going, are you a human telling me this right now? Like the most crazy shit I've seen blows me away.
I think this pandemic was a really good thing for us as adults to separate those crazy people in our life.
What's next for BPOW?
I think business-wise on my bucket list, I would love to own properties. One of my my mentors in life is Dana Lynn Bailey. I remember looking on social media and seeing one of her posts, and one of her quotes was, "That's what I want to do. I want to get out there and I want to show girls it's okay to have a little bit of muscle. It's okay to be strong. Be confident in exactly who you are. The sexiest thing a girl can do is ever pose is confidence." And I rock that shit hard. It was really cool seeing her surpass her accomplishments. Who's to say I can't do that? So 5 to 10 years down the road, having a farm, I think that would be so awesome. Could you imagine waking up, opening your front door, and a bunch of little pygmy goats walking in? I
feel like that'd be on your mirror. But don't forget to feed the pygmy goats. You're damn it. All right, Britt, let's go. Let me squeeze my lemons. Go feed these fucking goats.
Life is good. Life is good. But yeah, I think it's so important that us females continue to go throughout our journey with every little passion and find people or groups of people that support that.
I think you've said some great things. More than I even, expected. Also, you've showed you can do so many things and you've been successful at them. And I think some of the recaps that I tried to jot down here, you said your inner circle is the most important thing. Surround yourself with people that have your same interest and your interest in mind. And then you said follow what you like and unfollow the shit that's gonna damage your mind. Before I go, tell the people, what are some of the books that you've read? What are some of the stuff that you found interesting, and where can they find it?
So some of the books I've read Make Your Bed by Admiral William McRaven. Like his book, it's made complete sense to me. David Goggins, a good friend of mine, had told me about his book, Can't Hurt Me. You read his story and where he's come from, his past as far as like his family history and the weight gain he's had, you relate to these people. I think David Goggins says it best, like you have to look in the mirror and like be able to have that conversation with yourself. I think that's so important. That's where it all starts.
Now, Brittany, I've always thought, you're an extremely talented person, celebrating Women's History Month, and I can't say anything better about you. So anything for the listeners, anything else you want to say before we wrap it up?
Be confident and know who you are, and I think that's like the first thing you need to overpass. And I think once you do that, anything is possible. So yeah.
I like it. Thank you again for listening to the KQ Show. Thank you again, Brittany.
Thanks, Kyle.
Everyone enjoy your night. Peace.